This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we'll begin with the flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, welcome everyone to the September 26th Marion County Commission meeting. We begin with public forum. Any public comments? Matt, did you want to go under administrative or do you want to go under public?
Whichever is easier for you.
Should we just do it under administrative?
Let's do it under administrative, that's all right,
Okay.
because you did present your issues last week.
Well, we do have public comments from last week
Okay.
that were intended to be read, but were not. And so the public comment from last week that we discussed in the meeting was from Jerry Mendoza, and he said, I wanted to confirm who should I direct my tire expenses that I have incurred since the road construction has been underway on the Olney Road. When I spoke to Bryce, he instructed me to send in my reimbursement request so you could turn it into your insurance company. But he did not give me the name to direct it to, so it could get paid to me. Over the last 3 weeks, I have had to replace 3 tires and will be going into Wichita to replace another one this week. I have had more tire issues in the last 3 weeks than the previous 4 years that we have lived here. Please also advise as to what time frame will I be reimbursed. And on the meeting, Bryce did respond. He said, Jerry, you can send it to the Road and Bridge Department at 200 South 3rd Street, Suite 5, Marion, Kansas, 66861, or drop it off at the courthouse basement at one of our offices. As far as the time frame for reimbursement, I would expect from 1 to 2 weeks or so, but that is out of our hands. And then the comment that I missed was from Mr. Mendoza, and he said, after Bryce put that response in, he said, can you read it to the commissioners so they can be aware of it? So my apologies, I did not see that last comment come in. And we do have a comment on here now, so. And this is also from Mr. Mendoza. I wanted to confirm that the commissioners received my email that contained a picture and a video of the 6-inch piece of metal that was removed from one of my tires as a result of driving the Olney Road. The email also included plea to have the road conditions on Olney reviewed, since there are other neighbors that have gathered numerous shards of metal. One neighbor collected an entire bucket full that could potentially cause a severe accident. I also wanted to inquire as to the probability of my reimbursement request that I will soon be sending in will get paid for the repair and replacement of a number of my vehicle tires. If there is not a probability of reimbursement, I would like to know so I can begin the process to recoup my costs, inconveniences through another avenue. That is the comment for today.
Okay. Any response?
That goes to the insurance company.
Yep.
So I don't know what else to say.
As far as the metal, we're in the process of developing the magnet for the blade. Of course, we don't have one yet. And follow up on that is this, as he was told and as the neighbors were told, this is base rock, which we wanted to rain to get it back in, which we now have got. So we've had good conditions to back in the base rock, so the cap rock should be coming soon. Yes, Commissioner Dockey.
You know this is the cement?
Yes.
That they put down for a base?
Yes.
And you know what kind of metal come out of it? Did anybody drove it, looked at it?
Mm-hmm.
And I got a feeling that piece that Jerry has is more than, there's thousands, I don't know how many of them's out there
Mm-hmm.
before we got it covered. So, I don't know, sure we didn't have a magnet, but did we try to do anything with that? I mean, it would take some physical hand labor to drive in trucks and pick some of the stuff up.
Yeah.
But I don't know, if we're gonna put it out there, then, and we're subduing our customers, our clients to that kind of stuff, then we ought to go the extra mile as far as I'm concerned.
Well, that's why we're investing a significant amount of
Yeah,
money.
in the magnet,
Significant
yes.
amount of money in that magnet.
Yeah, but
It's
I
just
mean-
too bad we don't have it now.
Correct, and I agree with that 100%. I'm just saying, when you do some things, sometimes you just have to do something
Right.
extra.
Once we have a magnet, that
Yeah.
issue will be resolved.
Yes, I hope,
Yes, it should be improved.
yes.
Okay, very good. All right. Other public comments? If not, let's move into administrative. And why don't we start with Matt? Come up to the microphone.
Thanks, so.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me again.
Yes.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, Commission, today. Since we last spoke, I have had the opportunity to talk with Wendy Hett from Florence Public Library, and they're submitting a portion of they have a lot of brickwork that needs to be done for their building, but they're going to submit a portion of that to include, I believe, the front entryway, to do some new tuck pointing and some other things to help secure that building. So they've been added to the list, and then I also, after our meeting last week, I went and talked to Carlson's, and I think we're going to have a project from them. They spoke about lighting. They have done quite a few upgrades over quite a bit of time to improve that building, but they did think they may have some lighting things. So I think that we'll have them. I'm hoping to finalize all the seed grant applications and everything to be submitted into the state by Wednesday. That's the plan. So if I don't have it by then I'll make one last attempt and then we'll see. But yeah, the plan is to submit that. I think we're going to be close to the $50,000 cap. Again, that's a $50,000 cap with a 10% match, and we've got now 6 projects kind of tucked into that, all countywide. And so I think we're going to be pretty close by the time it's all said and done. And I think our match is going to be closer to 25%, which will be much more competitive, I think. So yeah, today I'm just following back up with the letter of support from the county commission to see if that was something we'd be willing to donate to the cause, so that we can submit the best possible application for the county.
Very good. I appreciate your putting all of these projects together, and certainly the competition part of it would be, the county loses out. But by pooling it together, it's a win for everybody.
Hope so.
And hopefully I would think it strengthens the application because it shows that willingness to work together. So I really appreciate you and all the legwork bringing that together.
It's my pleasure. I think well, the grocery stores in particular have a soft spot in my heart. I feel like we need to have county grocery stores, and so the more we can do for that, we can the better off we are. And of course, public library is always a great thing to continue working on.
Right. Commissioners have any questions on the letter that was presented? Letter of support? Do we need a motion to approve the letter of support?
Sure.
All right.
I can't remember if you made the
I
motion
can't
to
either.
do it last time.
Well, let's go
okay,
ahead
great.
now, and even if we had duplicated. I would move that we approve the letter of support for the grant, county grant application for TEFFIC grant to Kansas Department of Commerce.
Second that.
Second by Commissioner Crowfoot. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Appreciate your support.
Glad you take care of the rest of the county too.
What's that?
Well, glad you're taking care of the
Well,
rest of
yeah.
the county as well as Hillsborough.
Yeah, well, it's, like I say, if we don't work together, as Commissioner Mueller said, that we will lose out, and there's no sense in doing that.
We're all on the same side.
That's right.
Kim wants to stamp it.
Yeah, I'll just check with him. I would.
Okay. That way it gets all 5 on
Yeah,
there.
it'd be nice to have, not leave a blank line.
He was in favor of the letter, so I can't imagine he would not want
Right.
us to use his stamp.
Okay. I just didn't want the blank line.
Good call.
Appreciate that.
Good call.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Commissioners, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Matt. at one time. That was the whole point of having everybody sign.
Right, that's what I was.
Yep, excellent. Next.
Okay, so the certification of voting delegate. So for K Camp, which is our liability pool, I put Commissioner Mueller and then Commissioner Gehring as the alternate voting
Okay.
delegate. And for K Work, which is our work comp pool, I put Commissioner Crowfoot and Commissioner Becker as the delegate and alternate.
Okay.
So if you're okay with those, that's the way the motion was made, and you didn't tell me which ones were which. so
Right.
Those just need to be signed by the chair.
All right.
Okay, then, does anybody want to present a nomination for the K-Work board? So does anybody want to serve on that board, or nominate a county person to serve on that board? That's our workers' comp
Okay.
pool.
Can it be staff?
Yes, but they meet on a regular basis, so
Okay.
it might be important to find out
Sure.
if that person that you would be
Okay.
thinking of would potentially be able to attend those meetings. I believe it's like, I don't know if they tell us. Let's see. They don't tell
Okay.
us how often the board's.
Has anyone expressed interest?
Well, I don't know that anybody knows about it because it just comes to you all, so.
Okay. Any commissioners have any suggestions?
This would be for the at-large nomination. So it would be for-
Take it along with you,
Know what all of
see what happens at the event, maybe there's something.
This is due on September 30.
Oh.
So I think that you would be voting at the event based on the candidates that are submitted, so. And you haven't nominated in the past, it's just, we always get the forms and I always ask, so.
I wonder if their board is full.
No, it's not, that's why they're, so they have,
You might win if you nominate her.
they are, right now, there is a trustee nomination from Southwest District that's open, Northeast District is open, and at-large. And so the only one that pertains to our county is the at-large.
Well, we have a retired member on the commission now. Is he interested in serving on the committee?
I'd like to know what they do.
Okay, how about we meet again on the 30th
Deal
for
with insurance
payday?
companies.
If you would like to explore,
On the 30th?
right, we meet on the 30th for payday.
Yeah.
We can make, if you,
I can have more information. for
Okay.
you.
Tina could have more
Yeah.
information, you can
Okay.
have some time to think about it.
Okay, if you got a phone number there to call somebody?
I can get one, if you wanna talk to them directly, or I can get the info.
Okay, get the info then, see what
Okay.
they do.
I will do that.
Then we've got a man on the inside. He didn't respond to that.
Okay, so then,
I didn't hear a word you said.
He's chewing on the inside of it, trying to decide.
okay, I'm gonna make myself a note.
Probably get aggravated.
Bad for your blood pressure.
Yeah, bad for blood pressure.
Most boards are.
Deal with lawyers and government, politicians.
Don't take it too serious.
That's when it takes blood pressure.
Okay, so along the same lines of everything that we've done so far, the next certification of voting delegate that I need is for KAC overall. And this would be who is going to vote on behalf of Marion County for issues that come up beginning October, let's see, October 5th, 2022 until the 2023 conference. So it would be like voting on the legislative platform, and then any time that something comes up that they need a vote on for Kansas Association of Counties. And they want a delegate, a first alternate, and a second alternate, and it can be any county appointed or elected official.
I guess I would think chairman, vice chairman, and then whoever would want to be the alternate. Is that,
Dave's already option.
Would Tina be?
Tina is the chairman, vice chairman, and then Tina?
Yeah, you're fine.
Is that right? Board consensus then, chairman,
Well,
vice
could we
chairman.
go ahead and have a vote? That would be good.
Okay, I would move that the delegates to KAC be chairman, vice chairman, and then clerk.
Yes, second.
Second by Commissioner Galkey. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Okay. I will fill this one out. I don't have to have your signature on it.
Very good, thank you. That will change the first meter.
Well, that goes to the next conference.
Yeah, so that's a good
Okay.
point. So even though you're serving as chairman of this board
Okay.
now, you would still be the delegate
Okay.
all the way through next
Okay.
October.
Then we can do the next year.
Okay. There were a couple of additional updates to the 911 dispatch manager job description that were requested by the sheriff. And I don't know that I don't think I got this in your packet. But they're in red on here. It's just adding the undersheriff as an additional person that this position reports to, not just the sheriff, it'd be sheriff and undersheriff. And it also is adding that under essential functions that they prepare the budget under the direction of the sheriff and undersheriff, which it has been the case for several years, but it wasn't on the job description. So it's the front 2 pages, the changes are in red there for approval.
Yeah. Just the third page. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, sorry.
And that's just the budget.
Oh, yeah.
And then undersheriff.
So here.
Undersheriff.
You said the third page?
Yes. Is it,
As
there you go.
it pertains to the budget.
Budget.
Okay. Cool.
I would move to accept the changes to the 911 dispatch, what's the official title? Manager, job position.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Euring. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. Appreciate that input. Good
Okay.
change.
Let's see. At some point, might be nice to have just a 5-minute executive session for security. Could be on this, it doesn't necessarily have to be on this meeting, it could be on the next one.
We'll have time in this meeting.
Okay,
I guess,
so you wanna go ahead and go
Yep,
through the
let's
rest
do
that's
those.
open? Okay. Got salary changes.
Did I miss the agenda?
I just looked at that. I apologize. We skipped right into administrative agenda approval. Our counselor will not be here, so we will not be having an executive session on potential litigation. Were there any other changes or additions to the agenda?
Just for discussion, I've had 2 landowners talk to me this weekend about leaving some of these corners.
Mhm.
And they're landowners that own the ground. One of them, there was just definitely no reason why we couldn't. But the other one, I haven't viewed.
I think that's a good discussion. Let's do it when Bryce is here.
Yeah, and
Let's
that's,
add that under
I want
Bryce.
to talk to Bryce too.
Yep.
But I want to have it somewhere, I don't
Yep.
care where.
That's a good point. Remind me when we have Bryce's report. We'll
Okay.
talk about that.
All right, good enough.
Anything else under agenda? Sorry about that.
It's all right.
All right.
Unless you wanna have a security discussion.
Oh, sorry. We'll add executive session on security discussion in place of the potential litigation. Sorry.
That's okay.
Tore it down.
Very short attention.
Here.
Okay, salary changes. First one is ambulance department, Travis Parmley, change from full-time to part-time paramedic, no change in pay. It's $19.48 an hour, effective 9/18. So change from full-time to part-time. the sheriff jail, new corrections officer, Caleb Tomlinson, starting at $15.36 an hour, effective 9/19. In the sheriff's office, new part-time reserve officer, Robert Bartlett, $15.36 an hour, effective 9/14. In dispatch, Chelsea Weber, interim pay is 911 dispatch manager until position is filled. Change from $16.78 an hour to $19 an hour, effective 9/7. Dispatch, interim pay is 911 dispatch manager until position is filled. Rebecca Curtis.
Oh, that one should be, I think, a lead position, not dispatch manager. So it's a dispatch.
Dispatch lead.
Yes, it's dispatch.
I was gonna say. Let's try again. In dispatch, interim pay is 911 dispatch lead until position is filled. Rebecca Curtis, $15.67 an hour to $17.24 an hour, effective 9/7.
Sorry, I didn't catch that before.
Initial up here. You want to check? Yeah, initial.
Description.
Probably description of this one.
Cute. Okay. So I feel like I'm forgetting something, and it's this whole other folder here. Change orders and supplements.
Another whole folder.
Yes, there you go.
Okay. Green.
Big green. I didn't pull that out for which ones need signatures.
There's two. Might have to look this up.
Yeah, I had to be off last week today. And I heard camp last Wednesday. Please fill it out. No flag, nothing. Out in your
We're
area.
bringing a whole bunch of chairs. I probably should have done. I don't know how many people are coming
My family.
for the next.
They saw some abnormalities in my stress.
Township.
I don't know.
Let's do it. You have to freeze drug him before you could get it. Or anything down
That's
here
good.
and see
Start
about getting
making
some
arrangements.
chairs.
I got it.
Okay.
First, plans. I got 20 days.
Yeah, they're finished with the admin, so we're good. I think this will do it. If we just have 8. Maybe enough if we have extra, more people show up, so, thank you.
Didn't know how many trips you were gonna make.
That might be
We're
enough.
gonna make 4 or 5, really.
Okay.
Get the soft chair.
Make it worthwhile.
That's why I'm sitting here.
It's definitely better than
Back corner,
20
soft
phone
chair.
calls. It's better to get it just right here.
Thank you. And that's all the administrative that I have.
All right, and we'll let people come in that want to speak.
Sign in.
Give them the high sign.
You didn't have research, did you?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Yeah, they tried this.
Took a while, ain't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, with my family history, they wanted to get in on things, get a baseline, to see where they.
Should we just pass that around along with
And get me on her.
expedite there?
We have a clipboard or something.
Unless you guys want to sit and wait for everybody to sign in.
Boy.
Excuse me. If you just want to come sit down and then sign. Okay. Let you keep that pen if you need it.
It's not the rebar. Is it bent over rebar or is it tire tube? Looks like a tire tube.
I didn't.
Thank you.
Nope, right up here. You've got the choice of 4 chairs. Yeah.
Put the quiet one up front.
Okay, we got everybody in. Continue passing the sign-up sheet around. And who would like to start?
I would.
If you'd please come up to the microphone so our people, give your name so the people online can.
Okay, if you would pass these down.
Should I see if Bryce can come up? I mean, I assume it's about roads, that's what we're here.
So, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Jenna Dickerson, and I'm just a third party here today to read the letter
Okay.
for the township trustees.
Okay.
To the county commissioners, the following townships have met for their yearly meeting to approve the township budget and any other concerns that might need to be addressed for the township. Discussion followed concerning the condition of the roads. It was the consensus of the township trustees that we write a letter to the commissioners to see if our concerns can be addressed. As it's stated in the 5-year plan that was completed in 2019, Marion County has 954 square miles with approximately 200 miles of paved roads, 800 miles of gravel roads, and 600 miles of dirt roads. The plan states it is difficult to maintain the roads and bridges. The 2020 budget for road and bridge was around $7 million, split between administration, shop equipment, roads, and structures. What is the budget for 2022 and 2023? The township trustees are asking for a meeting with the commissioners to address and answer the following concerns. Number 1, how is it determined which roads are to be rebuilt in Marion County each year? Is it based on how many families, taxpayers drive the road or use the road to gain access from their roads to a highway? 2, how many miles of gravel rebuilt has happened since last year at this time? 3, how many dirt roads in each township have gotten ditches pulled and crowned so the water can run off and not continue to deteriorate? In the 5-year plan, it is stated that these roads would be worked on during the winter months as long as it was not too wet. Even though they are dirt, they continue to be thoroughfares for farmers, ranchers, families, and taxpayers to use for their livelihood. These roads would require approximately 2 days a mile to complete on the average. Number 4, at the February 4th, 2019 Commission meeting, it was the general consensus between the board and Mr. Warren Harshman that the county prefers to utilize the higher quality rock in most instances. Mr. Harshman expressed willingness to work with the county to provide a higher quality product and will request information from Road and Bridge Superintendent regarding possible stockpile locations. Pricings would be discussed once the locations were known. Is that consensus of using a higher quality rock still being upheld today? On the 5-year plan in 2019, it states, most of the quarries with hard rock are at least 40 miles from Marion, such as much as 70 miles. These miles are based back to Marion so that hauls farther north and west could add many more miles. These rock haul prices usually run in the $4 loaded mile range depending on the total distance. So you take 25 tons, load at $8 a ton equals $200, but then add 70 miles at $4 a loaded mile, which equals $280. The total cost of the load becomes $480 a load, or $19.20 a ton. It also reduces the amount of rock hauled per day due to the length of the drive. These hauls usually result in 2 to 3 loads per day compared to the 5 to 6 from local quarries. This hard rock is better but results in less rock and less roads getting covered. Number 5, within the last 2 years, the commissioners put the harder rock in different locations in the county, and we're going to periodically evaluate these areas to determine if that rock, even though more expensive at the time, held up longer. If that were the results, then this rock would require less time of re-rocking, which is a cost saving not only of rock but the manpower of putting it down. Has this been reviewed? Number 6, for a fact, trucks coming from the area where the hard rock is located are going through Marion County to pick up salt and will haul at a better rate as they could be bringing the rock to Marion County and returning to the cities with salt. This would then free up our trucking issues in the county. Most of these quarries are owned by the Harshmans. Are their backhaul trucks being used or considered? Number 7, when our gravel and dirt roads need immense work, we would like the commissioners to give us the reasoning behind pulling our dedicated graders off their designated assignments to blade patch. How long are the graders reassigned to blade patch instead of working on their assigned roads? These employees have voiced concern that when finally returned to their assignment, many of the roads are in worse condition and it's disheartening. Can blade patching be contracted out so that people do not have to come back to their assignments with roads in even worse shape? Number 8, multiple blade operators have expressed that their training at the start of the county employment consists of being shown how to start their assigned grader and told find a dirt road and figure it out. What training is available and is it being utilized to make our employees more efficient and productive in their tasks? Does the training include rebuilding of roads, maintaining of roads, and blade patching? Number 9, if the department states that they are down 11 employees, where is that money that has been budgeted for employment? And could it be used to outsource and address some of the concerns of the roads? Number 10, we read in the commissioners' meeting reports that there is money budgeted for continuous purchasing of equipment, yet our unnecessary roads are being left idle. If employment is down and roads are not being maintained, what is the equipment for? Number 11, we see in your meeting notes that the roads have not been minimally maintained for years and now being questioned on closing because it will cost too much to fix. But if they had been maintained, would they still be usable? Our concern is how long is it too long to wait about maintaining a road to keep it viable? Number 12, it is stated in the 2019 plan that we have 600 miles of dirt roads. Marion County residents have to use these dirt roads in order to continue their livelihood, since rocking every road is not an option. When statements that have been said in county commissioner meetings that since the department is down employees, the dirt roads are probably not going to be touched. How can this be considered? We read in your meeting notes that people who live on these unkept roads are discouraged and even fined when trying to put some maintenance to them so that their vehicles and equipment are not torn up. We have taxpayer citizens in our township paying to have private haulers bring sand or gravel on the roads just to keep the dust down from the soft rock and provide stability to their roads. We also read that on 7/25 of 22, Mr. Mueller moved to approve a proposal for CFS engineers for a biennial bridge inspection in the amount of $26,695. In the first year after a county engineer was hired, he stated that he was not qualified to do the inspections as he had not had the training, but if the county would want him to get the training, that could be an option. As it has been stated in the minutes numerous times that very few bridges can be repaired due to the cost amount even after they are inspected. If our county engineer was trained to inspect them, then this would free up money to be used elsewhere towards a bridge that needs repairs. We understand and can read from the 5-year plan that it is a very difficult task with the money that is being appropriated, but we, the township trustees, are very concerned about how we are going to keep our roads drivable, as these roads are the livelihood of this agricultural community. We feel it is time for answers to questions. Our township in this county has lost services such as trash, newspaper, and continuous problems with telephone service due to the state of the roads. The roads have become an economic crisis to Marion County. We do not have all the expertise or background knowledge that is needed to make this difficult decision in regards to our roads in Marion County. Newspaper articles going back to 2017 show that the rural citizens of Marion County have made a concentrated effort to work with the county and commissioners to change how our roads in our county are being addressed, seemingly to no avail. Newspaper articles in 2017 discussing the conditions of our roads are still the main concern being addressed in 2022. We are asking to have a meeting with you, our elected officials, so that you can educate and address our concerns as stated in this letter. Sincerely, Center, Clark, Clear Creek, Colfax, Durham Park, Grant, Gale, Lehigh, Liberty, Logan, Minnow, and Risley Township trustees.
And Blaine.
What?
And Blaine.
Oh, and Blaine.
Skip that one.
Well, that must have been added on, I think back.
Thank you for a well thought through letter, lots of really, really good questions. And I guess what I'd like to do is just go through each one item by item.
Okay, these are the people to ask. I'm just the
You're
person
the
who's
messenger?
reading it. Just the messenger, don't shoot me.
Well, very well presented.
Yeah, thank you.
Again, as was stated in the letter, these are issues that have been big issues for Marion County since the beginning of time, basically. So let's just start working through them one by one. How's it determined which road can be rebuilt in Marion County each year? Again, you saw the 5-year plan. Go through the process. We're going to start, we basically got 3 categories. You got your paved roads, gravel roads, and then your dirt roads. Paved roads, which we've hit really hard this year, really starts on traffic counts. So the number of people using those roads and the conditions of the roads. Obviously, it varies throughout the county depending upon the road. But we work with the recommendation of our county engineer to come up with which ones are in most dire need of action. And obviously, that'll change not only year by year, but sometimes month by month or week by week, depending upon the weather conditions, traffic. Some roads that we think will maybe last another 2 years, well, they need more attention sooner. Commissioner Malky?
The example of Alney Road just went to heck on us.
Right.
And that's what probably wasn't on the plan. But you gotta do what you gotta do to maintain the road and maintain safety.
So on our paved road projects, which I don't think is really your focus, but that's where I'm gonna go to start with, because I think we've put a really hard push on that. That's where a lot of our money goes, to paved roads. The highest traveled road in the county is Indigo, south from Hillsborough. And put a considerable amount of money and effort into doing that road and doing it right. Again, it's the highest traveled road in the county. We figure by attacking that one first, that'll free up some of our staff and equipment, then we can work on the next priority. 190th between Hillsborough and Marion, we went with a new process, much cheaper, called microsurfacing. We feel we've got a good base, understanding from the county engineer. Some people may argue that that's maybe not the highest priority road in the county, but at the same time, as pointed out further down in your letter, if we don't maintain that, we're gonna lose the base, and then we're gonna be spending a lot more money. But we're really pleased with the microsurfacing process that's worked out here, that we can maybe use it in place of chip sealing on some roads and give us a longer lasting process and help lengthen the life of some of our roads. Any other commissioners want to chip in on number 1?
The microsurfacing, time will tell how it works out.
Yeah. I guess I should go down through the other categories. Next, the gravel roads. 2 months ago, the engineer presented a process, knowing that we're short on staff, to contract out the rock hauling for the county. So we put out bids for 50,000 ton, and Bryce, commissioner, step in if I misstate anything. But we, using the work of calls that came in to the county, the engineer's determination of where the rock was needed, and the section men all had input on where that gravel would be placed. And it was put out for bid. They've started the process. It should be completed end of October, if I remember right. But it's about $1 million worth of gravel going to be put out by contract haulers. Okay, the next one would be dirt roads. Bryce, you might help me out on that one. That's more of a winter project, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's really more of a priority that's set by the section men on which dirt roads are rebuilt?
Yep.
Okay. Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I was thinking, I know this letter is pretty comprehensive, and the thought is that some of these issues can be addressed currently now, but what our desire is, like maybe in 2 weeks, if you come back.
This isn't the meeting.
Yeah, this isn't the main meeting.
Okay.
It's a request for the meeting.
What's that?
It's a request for the meeting.
Yeah, it's a request for a meeting, exactly. And we want to give you the opportunity to, if you gotta do some checking or research or whatever.
All right.
Come back, and then we could meet at your discretion.
Okay.
At that time.
That'll work. We just had time today, so I was going to tackle.
Yeah, right. And
I thought most of the questions we could answer.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of them that we probably would want to look into. Maybe we could put down a written response in addition to meeting in person, if that would work.
I think that would be a good thing, and then we just focus on this issue.
Okay.
But I welcome your input.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's what, we've been through all of these discussions multiple times, so they're not new questions. It's just, I understand your frustration because you don't get the information, a lot of the information decisions that are made here. But it does come down to, and your points are very valid, well thought through letter. So you would say in about 2 weeks, meet, middle October sometime? Okay.
And I know for farmers, that's probably right.
It's gonna be soybean harvest and wheat sowing.
But I will make a commitment to that.
Okay. Commissioner Gary, you seem to have thoughts.
No, we need to put it on the Marion County map too. I know I've asked for it in the past, but it's very helpful, especially to everybody else, when you see at least goal oriented. Sometimes things fall through, but like a yellow on all the roads that are going to be rebuilt this year, orange for the ones the following year, and put it out 5 years on that map. And then if they don't get done, the yellows move to oranges and the oranges move to, but at least there's a goal out there.
The problem with that has been, at least my 2 years, the first year I was excited, I saw the map and I saw all the miles that were going to get rebuilt. Well, none of them got rebuilt. We were short staffed. The next year, with the same map, all the miles are going to get rebuilt. None of them are going to get rebuilt, or very few. We just just, so I get a little frustrated with that map. Now, the map on the contract work, I mean, that's done. And I've had a lot of calls on which roads are gonna be rock, especially after the rain, which we've been praying for months. Get the rain, well, the side effect of the rain is you got gravel roads that show the weaknesses. But we've got, that one we've got the map for, and the heavy travel roads are gonna get rock. I mean, it's gonna be a significant project.
I know one road that you've probably discussed it before, the one that goes past Ag Service. You know, that road is incredibly rough. I mean, I don't know even if, maybe in your lifetime, it's ever had a new base put down. It's probably been that way for 75 years, you know, so it's really problematic.
And that's
getting a 2-mile stretch of something real costly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, and I realize that.
It's coming.
Yeah,
It's-
right.
Yeah, we're gonna do 2 miles, it's gonna be very expensive.
Okay.
And then we'll work on going north and south of there, but I don't know how.
It's a long-term solution.
Oh, yeah.
And we've committed the money, and we're in the final processes of design before we go to bid on it. Hopefully it'll be this winter.
Trying to
early next year.
hit the most weighted traffic areas
I believe it.
with concrete
The most
to
times.
Yeah,
make sure that it doesn't buckle and break
Yeah.
when brakes are hit coming up to stop signs.
yeah.
So
I keep hearing anecdotal evidence that there's some overweight trucks driving there.
It's
But
an
at the same-
it's ag community. I mean, it's just what
Yeah, right.
But again, if we
we gotta
can
get
do
it out of the field.
a long-term solution, and we've said this over and over, but we
Right.
want to see it happen in the real world. You do a long-term solution, then you can free up your assets to tackle, you get down the list.
And the same goes for this. I feel like the rock is what I've seen, the amount of effort going back is the direction that we need to be going. That's my personal opinion.
But that doesn't mean it all has to come from a far distance. There are
Yeah.
solutions
I just
closer.
feel more about what we put down a few years ago, that it is definitely hands down better, requires less attention, so.
And there's an issue of the right rock in the right location. Not everything has to be hard rock, but you need to use your different categories in the right place. And that's where I think we've been trying to go.
I think we get different expectations of the rock that we get. And we need to inspect the rock that we are getting to make sure it's what we're paying for, instead of a lot of slop in it. Getting hard rock.
Somebody.
2 years ago, over by Linda, would not even come out of the trucks. Yet, I've seen rock that they put on their road, it's a lot better grade, a lot better quality, so probably for the same price that we paid. So we've got to improve on that.
Well, that 2-mile stretch is definitely better than the rest. I drive that road pretty often, so I can tell you the difference between 3 miles from 150 and the 2 miles from 56. Clearly different road.
I have recently, this summer, you guys rocked my road past 230th. In July, Kevin Winter had his corn chopped. It turned it to dust immediately. And, I mean, I appreciated the road as long as it was there, but it's just amazing how that rock just crumbled.
It's heavy trucks.
Yeah, and heavy trucks, yeah.
Okay, 2 weeks, do we want to set a date? Same date, time?
Is it going to be a commission meeting, or is it going to be or 2 of us?
I would hope we could combine it with a commission meeting.
Okay.
Maybe the morning of a commission meeting, if that would work.
You might have a work session.
How about if we do like
A work session with this,
10:30 before, 2 hours, would that be enough?
What do you think, Linda? That would cover our open meetings requirements for us.
Yep. Okay. I like it when you hold it up and I feel like
Yeah.
see it.
Oh, do you want me to hold it
If
way
you
back
don't
there?
mind.
It's in the
Just
public,
tell me when you can see it.
Right there.
Okay.
Anyway, we have a meeting the 11th and
Don't on the 17th.
do not,
No,
we've done that
17th,
week.
You're,
So the
yeah,
11th,
KAC that.
11th or 24th. We would do a morning, say 10 o'clock.
So the 11th is on a Tuesday.
Looking around all the farmers.
What's that? That would at least be morning, wouldn't it?
Could be. Your 24th?
Yes, I figured to call
24 sounds good.
24?
To most of them.
Okay, let's do October 24th, that is a Monday at 10 a.m. That way we've got a full 2 hours to go through all the questions, the issues, maybe get some maps put together, and brought up available for you.
They might have some answers for us.
Us have answers.
The answer came.
Okay, we can only hope.
Somebody's got an extra 20 million?
I just,
What do you want to
I just wanna say that the rock, the harder rock, that Mr. Harshman, that sometimes he will bring it in to the rock quarries there in Florence. But it's on a back, I mean, he's charging us the back haul, whether we pay for it on the front end or the back end.
Right.
The hard rock is probably coming in on a back haul because he doesn't have it there. So I think that's just, you know, all these rock quarries, he owns all of them, so it's not questioning him or his, but, you know, he's basically stated in front of this county commission that soft rock is not gonna hold up on our roads. So we just keep putting it down. So, just saying, we're just kinda doing the same thing we've always been doing and just kinda, it's not working. Didn't work 5 years ago, so.
You know, I was thinking one option, if you remember on, between 240th and Eagle and 250th, sometime it might have been when Steve Bartle might have moved to that Vernon Bartle place. And that road was rock, it had been dirt, but it was rock with mud hole rock, I mean large size, and it was rough for a while. But then, you know, that could be that kind of, just Marion County rock, but then the stuff that you put over the top, if that would be a different quality. You know, I don't know if that would be a solution to.
Well, that's what we discussed. We've just
Yeah.
heard the complaints this morning. We put down base rock and we wanted to wait 2 weeks for rain, which we've got, so now it's time to
Yeah.
put the cap rock on.
Well,
That's
and,
somebody really upset about that.
Yeah.
Because they can't wait the 2 weeks.
well, and I think the thing though, that Mr. Harshman said over and over and over 5 years ago, that as long as we've got a crown, we can use a soft, I mean, we can go back to that soft rock because it's gonna go off. But when it's like this, it sets and it just goes to pieces. And so when you call 6 months later and say, okay, well, we need more rock, well, we've had the rock for on your road, so we're gonna have to move on, so.
I think the little plan then is not to put the hard rock on unless we do have a crown. I mean, because if you put it in the you just described, we know what it's gonna do, it's just gonna set.
The soft rock. The
Well,
hard
soft.
rock, the hard rock will stay up. I mean, it's
Even
given.
in the valleys,
But yeah, that's what will give it. It won't tear up because the porous rock will deteriorate because it's just sitting there. But the harder rock, it doesn't, it's not as porous. So, but the thing is if we're never going to get around to crown roads, then we're all sitting here with a lot of years down the road and maybe they'll never get fixed. So I think that's the debate that has been for the last 5 years, but we gotta do something, because it's just the same old, same old.
I'm still gonna hold my ground on the harder rock, because
Right.
seeing one of the roads get rebuilt, capped off with the softer rock, it's powder.
Right.
Had it been capped with the harder rock, we would've been in better shape.
Right.
So, like I said, I'm a big believer in the harder rock.
Just long term, But
All right. thanks for coming in. Again, thank you for a well thought through letter. We'll be gathering information and plan on meeting on the 24th at 10 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks for reading that letter, Tim. I knew I would not want to be in your position.
At least we know she can read, right?
Well, I mean, that's a long letter to read.
Didn't come from Simon.
Yeah.
Well, here.
Oh.
You can't copy that.
Did you get a copy of it?
Just now.
All right, Bryce, move into regular report.
Area fuel bids, debt service was low, recommend approval for all 3 areas.
You say Epps is low?
Yes.
Both Epps.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Garing to go with Epps. You want to read it off?
Epps, all 3 areas, $19,082.70 versus $22,933.90.
Yeah, I don't know why there's a big difference, but that's what they quoted, so.
No, this is diesel.
Hmm?
No, this is diesel, this is.
No, these are all diesel.
Yeah.
It broke the $3 mark, that's why.
Yeah.
Not quite a bit.
Yeah, and distance from the refinery.
Yeah.
I mean, it's some of it's how much they clean out their reserves to
Yeah, I don't know.
replenishing.
Motion by Commissioner Garing, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Commissioner Daltrey, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0.
Steve and I talked last week, probably have most of this week, if not all the week, finishing up on 290th. Due to the time frame, cool temperatures, things to that effect, we have decided that we're going not to go back and just start doing every road that we can, one end to the other. We're gonna go back and hit the really bad areas and just try to get those done. Unfortunately, that means we're not gonna get to all the patching. We don't think so, but at least that way we can try to get these real bad holes taken care of. Hate to go through the winter time having rock patches again, so that's kind of our plan was told otherwise.
The blade patching I've seen is, they're doing a really nice job.
It's been good weather, things like that. We're even in the 80s, it's not gonna be as good as it was in the 100s, because the material doesn't use as good.
But a little rougher now.
Yeah, but anyway, so that's the plan.
Can you still get the material, good material?
Yeah, oh yeah, we're getting it, but the fact is, we're basically using it almost as fast as they can bring it in for us. So, fact is that one day they went to use it in the morning, it was still steaming from production the day before. So, so that's the best material we can use.
You bet.
The contractor on 190th should finish today. They were going west of Hillsborough this morning to finish that off. Whatever, if they have any time today, they will, otherwise tomorrow they'll do some patching areas and then they'll be done. I guess I'm extremely happy with it for what we're getting for the money. But obviously it comes down to you guys. If you, one of the options that we could do is if there's some, I'd say bad spots or rougher spots, whatever else, is they can make another pass over it. There would be, more money, but to arbitrarily say where that would be or whatever else.
Do they gotta do a full mile though?
No, but the point is, how do we pick and choose where that would be?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Or the other option is because they've got plenty of work to, the fact is they overbooked for this year.
So they won't do that.
Right, well, they probably would not, yes, but I did talk to them and they said that this process has worked for Leavenworth County when they have went in and chip sealed a road and then put this over the top of it. And I think they call it a trap seal or cape seal, something like that, performing very, very well. So that's something to consider next year as well. So.
Yes.
Bryce, I haven't driven, so tell me what's your opinion of bad spots out there?
Well, everything comes down to the fact is everything down below essentially is still there. We've got some blade patches that don't ride extremely well, but honestly, I'm
Smoothed
happy.
it out.
Yeah.
Smoothed it out.
Yes.
I mean, it was about every 10 feet, just up. And
Yeah,
now
the
it's kind of,
I drove it Sunday and it was
Yeah.
Really, the best thing to do
100%
is when
improvement.
one side was done and one side
Oh,
wasn't.
yeah.
Like Jonah said, you're on the unfinished side, it's bump, 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 and then you hit the sweat. But now you come back, it's just absolutely night and day. Is it perfect?
No.
No. Is it a 120-mile-an-hour stretch? Probably not.
We haven't found anybody yet, but there still may be.
But it's never, you get to the point, it's never good enough. But it is so much better than it was, and it'll hold.
yes.
Well, that's the whole thing. Honestly, I guess my opinion is I'm happy with what we have now,
Yes.
satisfied. I'd like to leave it. Obviously, the other thing is see how well it performs,
Right.
like it's going to. And if we want to do something down the road, or we want to do another road next year, it's just that simple. The biggest thing is just getting the material back in. So.
Talk about performance. I did drive this morning from 190th north to New Highway on Nighthawk, and that's the holes, and they just kept coming. Okay, so has it been over a year now, or right at a year?
A little over a year.
A little over a year.
July, August last year.
Okay.
Is there a spring under that?
Don't know. I kind of learned that
It's like,
myself,
oh my-
especially from north of
It
Canada.
just keeps getting worse.
Yeah.
But okay, it is all right in that one section, but my question is there any difference that they did or anything? Is there any?
Nope. Absolutely no difference.
Okay.
And again, what you're looking at is something below what we did. And that's, something again, how far down do we try to go to fix things? Because I thought the same thing. It would be different if it was a full width wide. But it's just in a couple foot wide area, and I just don't understand. But, again, what it is, we've got a couple spots on 330th as well that are like that. So,
There's one spot on the west side that I see, even when it isn't wet, there's still little water puddles over there on the west side.
Where's that?
On that 1 mile stretch.
Oh.
On the west,
Okay.
it's always wet over there.
So if you've got standing water underneath there, that water will work its way back up
Yeah,
underneath.
I mean, it's always wet over there, so I don't know
That
what
is
it is.
That is a really bad area for drainage on the west side as well, because all that water needs to go almost 3/4 of a mile down to 190th to get out of there, so.
Just on the 1 mile of Peabody or half mile of Peabody, I've seen on the west side some cracks just open up here in the last 60 days.
Okay.
I haven't looked at them very much, Bryce, just.
The one part in town?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, yeah, right down close to my place.
Probably in front of that Dolce property.
Yeah, it's close to that, but anyway, I've just seen some cracks open up, and that's the first time I've seen any open up.
Heavy equipment, he's with.
Could be,
You know,
yep.
New construction company.
Yeah. Okay.
Would the microservicing be an option on like Nighthawk?
Down the road.
Again, anything is better than, say the chip seal. The chip seal
Right,
does its
right,
job.
right.
This is a more substantial than a chip seal, but
Yes.
less than what, again, it's all being proactive.
But there's really no use in putting the microservice on one where your base is already failing.
Right.
Right. You've got to fix the base.
Yeah.
But on roads where you've got a base,
Well, the other thing that you can look at, and I mentioned before, on trucks down roads that have a tremendous amount of rutting, and again, it's down below, you can actually go in and fill the ruts, then go over the top of it again. So you're adding more substance at the ruts, basically rut filling. But, again, ultimately it comes down, like these guys said, when these roads were never built for the kind of traffic and the heavy traffic that we have. 190th is performing as well as it is because it's a 70-year-old road, but it was built as a state highway. It was probably built with road mix and everything else, but at the time, it was probably 8 to 10 inches thick.
Yeah.
So.
Full on ditches its whole life.
Was this process out here, if you, just what you said, Dave, if you was to use it on Nighthawk or any of the roads that was redone with that we've got the,
Oh, yeah.
would that process take care of that?
Yeah.
It would help immensely.
Would it?
Yes, because that's one of the things that we did out here was filling in all those low spots, all the cracks and everything else. It filled them in with more than what was there. I mean, eventually you'll still feel them, just like anything else.
It would eventually come through.
Yeah, but that's essentially what it does, it fills that stuff in. So, anyway, so no comments, whatever else about that as far as, because they're gonna say, once they're done tomorrow, they're gonna say, hey, anything else you need us to do? Like I said, I'm
Unless
okay
we
with-
see spots that need to be done.
That's the way I feel too, that's why I asked him that.
I've seen some tracks going through here and there, but
Yeah.
not enough to.
And, well, and that's what they're gonna try to fix.
Yeah.
You know, they realize that people need to drive through there regardless, and.
So they're
it's
gonna
no-
hit some of those
Yeah,
areas? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, it's
Then
no
I wouldn't
different
have
than
anything
ours.
to give you,
Okay.
from what I've seen.
Yeah, one of them was.
That's about it.
One of them was a Quail Creek.
One of them was Kansas.
Yeah, yes, in Kansas was that way too. We tried to do the same thing in Jade, but there's a lot of traffic there too, but, so, now they're gonna try to fix all those. So,
Awesome.
and,
We're still really enthused about that process.
I'm
Well,
hoping it holds
We
up.
need to be doing that next year on.
well, like I said, and I still look at that, what we're spending for the money, I think we get a lot even compared to the chip seal, so.
I was thinking of what you want next year and book them, and then if
Yeah.
it started to not show like what you wanted, then you can cancel them.
Yeah.
But they're gonna be so booked up. I
Well,
can get them
one
next year
of,
without
one of the
booking them now.
things that would help immensely if we wanted to do that is to get them on the books as soon as we can, because bringing in the material is the key for them. They had a heck of a time bringing in that material down here, because it comes from Baxter Springs, and it's a long haul.
And if they stored it here, stockpiled it for when they could get here.
Yes.
We have the capability to.
Yep. We're storing out the south plant, or south shop right now.
Okay, I didn't know it was special permitting.
Oh, yeah, special permitting, because it's considered a hazardous material, but as long as it's totally encapsulated in oil, it's fine.
Well, I thought, I heard something about the airport too, did you?
What's
The
that?
airport.
We were gonna put it out the airport, and they said, you know what, we've got a better place out here,
Okay,
so that's what we did.
so there's no issue on stockpiling if, I mean, to get it.
No, it's just, again, getting it here when they can.
Well, would you be able to put together 20, 30 miles, I mean, commission
50, 60.
50, 60?
Of chip, of, rather than chip seal, something you were gonna have to chip seal.
Yeah,
Or one where you could do the combination, you know, he was talking about the
yeah.
trap.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's called a trap seal or a cape seal, I can't remember what they said, but anyway, I was gonna talk to Leavenworth County.
For the $1 per mile, that just, bring us a proposal.
Well, again, we're looking at alternatives that are less expensive, and I've talked to contractors about the price of oil, they're still,
Sure.
they have no idea, you know, so.
Well, there's a couple factors on the price of oil that I think are going to take hold here in the next couple of months, so.
Yeah. So, along with that, striping is our contractor that we're bringing in for striping it, that we do every year. It's supposed to be here at the end of the week, so they should have all of our chip seals as well as that striped as well.
Are they gonna use that wider stripe?
I will talk to you about the 6-inch white.
Yeah.
That's typically what they do.
It's
They
kind
put-
of a nice feature, having that wider.
It's amazing when KDOT went to that, the studies have shown why that 6-inch stripe makes a difference. We did the 6-inch stripe on Indigo, the 6-inch white edge line. For some reason, it's
And
more of a
It
substance.
keeps you off the shoulders better.
Keeps you out of the ditch.
Yeah.
It does.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah. And it's got different reflective beads in it, different sizes.
Well, each one of those stripes has the same beads, it's just with a wider stripe, it shows up
So is it more visible, is that the?
Exactly, you got more paint to hold the beads.
So it's more visible?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there, you can almost get a payback on that because
was-
of the not deteriorating edge of your road.
Yeah.
When Bryce did that on Indigo, it was a very good call.
Yeah.
Good.
So we'll have that done. Speaking of Leavenworth County, I'll be going to Leavenworth Wednesday and Thursday for the meat conference. Starts at noon on Monday and done every Monday. Wednesday, done at noon on Thursday. Really valuable that gets together engineers, superintendents, professionals from Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, basically what it's called the MINC. I've got some really, really good ideas. Probably one of the best one-day conferences I've ever been to. So I was going to that. I also followed up with dump trucks. Scary. Everybody I talked to, Freightliner said they have 3 salesmen in line and they were obligated 3 trucks for next year. So, pretty tough.
Make a living.
Well, yeah, that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
But
if you had a cabin chassis, I could point you in the direction of getting a bed.
beds aren't a problem. Yep.
And 9 miles over here, they're selling a bed.
Yep, 60 to 90 days for beds, but what about everybody said, which I think we're gonna proceed with, is send us your specs, what you want. What they do is, all these people, they will get a truck, the soonest that anybody could even come anywhere close was second quarter of next year for dump truck. So what we do is we send them the specs, and they said, okay, we understand what you're looking for. If and when we get something like that, we'll do that. The other option is to say if somebody backed out of an agreement that they had, whatever else, they would do the same thing. But you send them the specs, and when they get a truck in, they'll look at, okay, well, Marion County may be interested in that. So they'll call us and say, okay, here's what we have, here's what the price is, do you want it? If not, they go to number 2. If not, they go to number 3 and ride on down the line. Every one of them was that way. Because they said they have absolutely no idea what they're gonna be getting. So, we were at least gonna get the specs together, send them out there, at least have that, and then, maybe things will change in the market, but, I called 6 different manufacturers, and every one of them was the same way.
Just remember what our discussion was on the trailers for the transfer station.
Yep.
One to buy 2.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, just follow up with that. And I think that's it until we get to the buildings.
We got a couple of topics to ask. First, obviously, we finally got our rains we were asking for, so then the phone started ringing. Where are we at on the contract hauling?
They are still on section 1 that I know of. I need to follow up with them. I was gonna do that this morning, I didn't. The problem is it's such a long haul out there.
Sure.
They're running.
They got a lot of miles to cover.
Yeah, they're running 4+ trucks every day, and Loyola has told me they're doing a great job.
Mhm.
Their daily communication, sometimes every load, they're calling each other. So I think that is working out exceptionally well to get exactly where we need to go. They're having a little bit of an issue trying to get that gray rock out of the trucks as well, just as wet as it is out of the pile.
Yeah.
So he said a lot of times they just take the chains off and dump it, and then he spreads it out on the road. It's not the way to do it, but that's for some, because we even have trouble having that, but.
It locks up better. I mean, it just does.
Yeah.
It's harder, rigid, it doesn't give,
Yeah.
so it doesn't flake.
Yeah.
So it locks in.
And when it lets loose, it all comes out.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I will follow up with them to find out where they are. I think he said they were working on the gray rock on 330, or on Diamond. So that was one of the few places that we had the hard rock up there. So.
How much moisture are we paying for with that?
Whatever rains on the pile.
Well, I don't think it even rains and we've got moisture in it. I think they're hauling it in wet.
Yeah.
And it stays wet in the pile. I mean, I hope somebody's thinking about it.
Well,
Maybe we ask them for what kind of price we paying them.
that's what you're gonna get with all rock. No matter what, it's if it comes out of the quarry as it is, you do the same thing with sand. We'll be driving down the road and water will be coming out of the sand, out of the truck.
Well, it's also, there's a washed rock in it.
I don't know if that's washed rock or not. A lot of that also.
A lot of screenings, so.
Yeah, a lot of that also comes up to the fact is that the water absorbs into the rock. And honestly, I don't know what the answer is unless they were to dry it and store it inside a building.
And they charge you for drying.
Yeah. So the moisture is a good thing. It's just a matter of getting it from truck to the ground and.
Now, if you get it placed and then packed, it's
Yeah.
actually, you're ahead. Because like you said, the process is if it's wet and you get it
Yeah.
placed and packed, they'll stay.
Yeah.
You just gotta get it replaced and back. And that is a challenge when it comes out of the pile.
I noticed it interlocks real well, like chore to pull up a piece.
Okay, Commissioner Galkey had an issue about radiuses or intersections. Wind farm.
Oh, okay. I've got two landowners that come to me this weekend, Bryce. It's, one of them's 130th and Nighthawk. I'm gonna have to get the other one. I haven't viewed it, but I did today when I was on Nighthawk. But like that one's the correction line, you know.
Okay.
And on the east side there, where they've added all that, that's all on our property and everything. They sure, and being in that correction line where corner, when you're in a semi, you've got to jack it to see, or, you know, with more room like we've got now, it's going to be easier to leave it. I mean, to make the corner for farmers and things
Okay.
right there. Why did we not accept it up north to leave some of the corners and like that? Is there the radiuses and things like that?
Well, they're putting those in. They had originally talked about, they were gonna leave some of them if we wanted them. It's not been a specific.
On this project?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, they've also said they would, and honestly, some of them radii that they have are way too big even for what we would.
Yeah.
They also want to take that material and put it around the turbines, so that when they're driving up to them and things like that, they'll actually have rock road and, because of part they backfilled. But we had actually talked about, because they asked right off the beginning if I wanted to reuse the rock. I said, yeah, if it's in good shape. But yeah, we can modify those. Part of the reason that the entrances are like they are is because that's the way they were originally built. In order to make a bigger radius, whatever else, we have to extend the pipes and things like that to make a better radius.
Yeah.
So,
but if they're there and we got some that, can we?
What makes a lot of intersections safer?
Can we get a list to leave alone now, or, I mean, what's the process?
Well, you know, just to back up a step, not necessarily leave them alone.
No,
What they're supposed to do is put them back the way they were, but if they could put them back with at least some expanded radius.
I would.
You know, not the full.
Right.
They're gonna do the process anyway, but come back to what's a reasonable,
right.
appropriate.
Yeah,
Right.
and again, that comes down to the culverts. Now, I will tell you at 130th with the correctional line, that is a double-edged sword, because if you make the radius wider, you allow them to turn in and out there faster, then it also becomes a less safe intersection as well, because people aren't looking as well as what they do before for oncoming traffic. Now, again, 6 might have to ask together. You open it up to make it safer, but yet you also create a better turning movement so that they can turn out faster and therefore may or may not look at it. But yeah, not a problem. And they're just getting to the point of starting to bring in turbines and stuff like that. So.
That's why I'm bringing it up now, because the landowners would like to leave some of them. If the landowner is agreeable and we can get it back down to what's agreeable for us, to make it somewhat wider, not the whole width, because even on 130th, it added about 6 foot for 150 foot or so.
Yeah.
And we don't need that 6 foot out there.
Right.
But
And then, you know, the other thing you look at, you make the radii and stuff like that wider, and you still have to deal with what kind of road you have behind there too, you know, so. But yeah, there's nothing set in stone on exactly what they're gonna go back with. I mean,
well, it'll be here. Last time they was when the people up north was asking, we was thinking about it, the time it was done, it was already picked up. It was too late, so.
So now is the time to be talking to landowners or looking at intersections, and that way the company knows, that way the county knows.
I think we have another bi-weekly meeting, not this week, but next week. I can bring that up.
Okay.
So.
Just tell them we're trying to put a list together or
Sure.
something.
Well, and they have a map of exactly what they've done and where,
Yeah.
so we can work with that, so.
That's a win-win for,
Yeah.
because they're doing the work, the county doesn't have to work, the
Well,
landowners get a wider radius.
And the other thing is, if we reuse the rock, either us or them, it's less to haul off and waste or whatever else too, so.
One thing that I did notice, and I know it's out of your jurisdiction, but it affects you, is some of these lease roads that they put in, bulldoze right through the terrace. Well,
Oh.
you know what that's gonna do, that's gonna bring all that water right back
Well,
into
no,
our
that's-
ditches.
That's for the transportation of the components. Once the components are in, they build it back.
Yeah, I
They
just
return the terrace back.
Make
the way
sure
it is.
somebody's
Well,
got
during-
it, somebody's watchdogging it. that's
During
all.
construction, yes.
Okay.
So if we get a rain event during construction, the water will go down the road. Once construction is completed, and that's an agreement between the company and the land, the terraces have to be.
And we specifically.
But you can't
addressed-
get that
Yes.
200-foot line.
Right, yeah,
triple
yeah, you
laid
can't,
over
you
a
can't
terrace.
up
We,
over the humps.
Yeah, we specifically addressed that right off the bat.
Okay.
Yep.
Erosion control,
Yep.
basically what they call BMPs.
Yep.
Best management practices. The other thing is I said, why don't you guys build up a nice crown on the road? And they said, we can't. The turbine manufacturers specify their cross slope and their approaches to like railroad tracks and stuff like that. And they said they will physically come out and measure those just to make
They
sure
cannot
that.
get high center.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And so I was surprised, but and we've had numerous conversations. Does it make sense? Why don't you just build it up? And that's what he said.
They all
Right,
pretty
I just-
flat.
Yeah, and that's what they said, is I think they can be no more than 2% slope or something like that. Yep.
That's what for our railroad crossing, the one railroad crossing used to always have,
Yeah.
which was dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, with the truck, now it just is nice, gradual.
Isn't that 340 of the
Yes.
Mustang?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
They built that up 8 feet
Oh, yeah.
to do that.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So
And increase
and-
the safety and visibility.
Yeah, and I mean, I can, Sharon and I reiterate all the time, these guys are just fantastic on, what can we do to, make things better, and they're, we've had a lady calling about dust control stuff, and they're out there, they're gonna put mag chloride again.
I'd sure make a motion real quick, I'd like to send our commission chairman with you to the meeting.
All it is a phone call.
Oh, phone call.
Yeah, I mean, all we do is main thing is, does somebody have a safety topic? We talk about that. We've talked about farming, equipment, school buses. The school buses are going out of their way to avoid their
See,
issues.
you know that, but does any one of us 4 or 5, now you
Well,
might because
we
you're experienced.
can
but-
each, as individual commissioners, ask our
Yeah.
county engineer. I think the whole design on that was to prevent the problems that happened last time.
Where we got too much.
We got too much.
But honestly, hey,
But if Randy, if you have any questions,
Yes.
don't hesitate to ask.
And honestly, they are fine with individual questions to them.
Right.
Like I said, they're just trying to do what they can to make everybody happy.
But we want to keep the communication strong between the staff and the
Yeah.
company.
And every one of those meetings is, they kept notes on, so that's all in there as well. So,
Do you ever get a progress report or anything? Like
we
got
typ-
last week or 2 weeks ago?
yeah, we typically don't, because honestly, we don't really care about that progress.
Okay.
All we're concerned about is the roads and bridges, so.
Sharon is concerned about the progress.
Yes.
Well,
Sharon is.
Sharon.
So let's not say we're not
No,
caring,
right.
we don't care about it.
Right.
Sharon has a lot more involvement when it comes to all that other stuff too, with her
Okay,
permits
we'll
and
get
stuff
with
like
Sharon.
that.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, that's who the person is.
Yeah.
I'm Sharon would be more intimate. with it.
Yeah, but again, I asked him here a month, 6 weeks ago, and they said everything was progressing basically on schedule, and then what they said last week,
We don't need an inspector to go out there and babysit them, I guess.
you drive them down the roads and
I know.
it's the,
I've been
like I told
out there.
them, I said, as long as I'm not getting complaints from people out there, that's most of the problem.
This,
right there,
this
you know?
morning I went to Salina with the grandson to get his new changed trucks. And when he was going through the wind farm this morning, he said, yeah, I've been seeing the water truck at 4:30 to 5 in the morning. They're out there at that time of the morning doing their thing.
Yeah.
And trying to keep dust and all kinds of
Yeah.
things, so.
It's not only dust, but they're bringing water out to concrete plant stuff too.
Yeah.
They're running some serious hours,
Yeah.
there's no doubt about it, so.
Dave, I can tell you, it's a lot different, this project so far than what we went through
I
the first project.
drove out on the weekend, we go,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
it looks beautiful.
Yeah.
sure makes
So-
you wonder where all the complaints were last time.
Right.
I think I know.
Tell you exactly what it is.
The, I don't know, maybe get off of this, but I think we've.
Yep, ready to move on.
Okay. On your paperwork here, your bids, we'll go through that.
Are you talking about the HRRR
Yeah.
information that was in your packet, and then there's an agreement, so.
Yes.
I just wanna make sure we don't.
The agreement is just the formality of them requesting, hey, do you guys have this money there? So that's why I signed that, because we
Basically, we're committing 39,000
Yes.
to get the match.
Yes, the agreement with Cook Flat and Strobel is, KDOT is just getting crazy on these, federal agreements. Basically, that is required by the feds to say that we have someone lined up to inspect it. Now, this project, I don't foresee taking that much time, but it's just a matter of formality, they have to have that done. So that's the only reason why they're asking for that signature, to have that lined up. But I don't foresee, we don't have to use it, you know, it's just there to satisfy those agreements. The plan is to let that, I think it's whatever, you know, what's the third Wednesday or Thursday in October is what the letting date is. What they did was, because we really don't care when the project is done, we want to try to get the best bids we can. They basically said that they could start as soon as we had a signed contract, so that if somebody had, you know, a couple weeks at the end of the year, they could fit it in, they could still do it yet this year, as long as the temperature, weather requirements, and everything else were met. And then they went to, I think they said November 1st of next year, and backed off 25 working days. So they basically have almost a year to build it. The reason you do that is because if you specify a certain time, being small quantities, you may not get any bids out of it, and then if they are, they're exceptionally high. Typically this, they'll find somebody that has a job around and they'll knock it out very quick. I also talked with Bettis Asphalt. They got the job with KDOT on 77 from Burns to Florence. I said, you know, we couldn't specifically say you can have that, but if we do let a contractor, they would be definitely interested in looking at the quantities to do work next year. Just saying that would probably be our best bid, but then again, we don't know. The plan is to put the plant out at Harshman's Quarry. So as far as trucking, be very, very close. Again, we just can't say that we'll make a change order with them, we can't do that, but depending on what happens between now and the end of the year, hopefully we hear back from all of our cost shares and all that other stuff. So, you know, we obviously need to prioritize those since we've already set them on. So there is that option for next year, so. Anyway.
This deal here is 6 miles south of Hillsborough. Is it right on the curves?
Yes.
So it's right on 130th.
Just south of 130th, we're moving the mailboxes from the east side to the west side, putting a widening up on top so that we don't have the drop off on the bottom.
Right.
We won't have as much drop off.
Widening the road, basically.
Yeah, and so the mailman won't be down there, he'll be up on top, he'll actually be on a widening, so.
Okay.
So we've already been through the whole post office.
Yep. Oh yeah, that was one of the, well, that was one of the first calls I made was to the post office, because if the post office doesn't like it, then it's kind of difficult. But yeah, they were all for it as well.
Good.
They were even gonna,
safety.
they were even gonna change the route. I mean, because I don't think he liked delivering where it was either. It was just a bad location.
Right,
over there.
it's dangerous.
Yeah. All
So
right.
we would take commission action to approve this agreement and then sign. And it does ask for all signatures.
All signatures.
Does that have the 3 or the 5?
It has
To
3.
approve the
I'd ask him to.
agreement number 265-22 for project number 57C-5069-01.
Made the
Since
motion.
all the commissioners understand
Second.
exactly what those numbers are, thank you, Commissioner Dahl, for seconding that.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. Very good.
That locks it down. There's no doubt on what I approved right there.
Gotcha.
I was gonna type that on there, but I didn't have time. Sorry.
Yeah, they, well, and I just got an email that, local projects is going through some reorganization. One of the 26-year employee they had, he just retired. So they're trying to fill that position. They've got the position filled, but not till October 17th. Well, then somebody else has the position still vacant. So, yeah.
very good safety.
Well, and again, it's 90/10 funding, you know, so. And that's another one too, if they get that one out of there fairly quick, we could get it in the mix as well too, so, literally.
All right. What else are we missing?
I think that's all I have.
How are we gonna work with Bryce to exercise?
Oh, okay, the township trustees.
Yes. Obviously, I didn't realize this, they had this written report. I will, if you want, I will go through and basically put my comments to you guys back. We can discuss those between now and then. A lot of information is, you know, I can put that in the list for you, so.
I've actually felt pretty good looking through the questions that every one of those we've worked through multiple times.
Yeah.
Good questions,
yeah. But it was,
Yeah, I mean, they're good questions, legitimate questions, but it's questions that we've had for a lot of years
Yes.
that we've never been able to.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
just gotta revalidate the foot is still on the accelerator,
Yeah.
just.
I contend there've been a lot of improvements in the last couple of years.
We,
A lot of times I hear holding down help, so they just assume that you're just throwing your hands up and not doing anything.
Right,
So
right.
we gotta reaffirm that you still are.
Yes, absolutely.
The photogrammetry is done on the Kansas design, so hopefully maybe this week, we will get back to,
Oh, very good.
yeah, on that.
Because that was one of the questions.
Yep, yep.
Already on it.
But again,
But it's
that's.
always my question.
Yeah.
Every week. It's
But
my
I mean,
question.
the public doesn't know it.
Yeah.
The message doesn't get out
Yeah.
to the public.
And again, he's right, that road, I'm sure it has never had any kind of substantial work on it, you know, and it just shows.
Big patches,
Yep.
big patches.
Yeah.
And that's why you elevated it to us, and that's why we
Yeah.
agreed with you that we elevated it to the top.
Yeah. So anyway, guess I didn't have anything else, but you guys did.
Anything else on roads?
I know, you gotta be everywhere, but that north on Kansas, where they replace that culvert.
Yep, that's one of the places I told him, I said we
Getting
did.
worse again.
Yeah, I told him, I said we definitely have to cover it, we got another one up on Quail Creek.
I don't know if you patch, if you're blade patching at all still.
Oh, no, yeah, we're going to, that's, like I said, once we get through 290th, we wanna get those, there's the bad ones down in South Kansas, down there. There's those big breakups like that, so.
Yeah, that one just comes out of nowhere sometimes. The sign is helpful, but
And you know, again, I wish we didn't have to get to the point where it's collapsing, we need to get it
yeah.
done right away, so. It's, you know, and Steve and I, we talked about it at length, we're gonna lose production by moving around, but yet we've gotta make sure to get those.
You gotta prioritize.
Yeah, so.
That's a good plan.
I did see, not to take this any further, but I did see Morris County was running around with a truck, a dump truck, with a skid steer. And it was a track skid steer, and that's how they were doing some of those types of patching. That track skid steer allows them to keep their bucket straight. Just rather than having anything else out there. It was just really minimalistic is what
And
they were
they
doing.
they were just compacting with the skid steer then?
No, they were actually putting the blade patch material out. Just,
Right, but I'm saying they didn't have a roll or anything, they just used the skid steer.
yeah.
Okay. Or wheel roll it with a truck.
And then time will tell. I don't know how well it holds up.
Well, and again, you're putting.
Slight hump.
Yeah, well.
Maybe.
And again, that's what we try to do is by going with our wide blades, we try to make it as smooth as you can, but if you've got a small space, sometimes that's what you do. And I know Morris County, as far as I know, I think they have the same way, they're real short on help as well, so.
All right, nothing else on the roads. We're gonna switch gears. First, we're gonna have a 10-minute executive session on property acquisition, then we'll come back and get into the building discussion.
You want to do
I thought since Bryce is here, we could leave that for last. That's okay. But we will not forget it. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss property acquisition pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, Item 6, for preliminary discussion of acquisition of real estate with the commission, Bryce and Tina. For 10 minutes, 2:05 to 2:15.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried 4-0. We will be back at 2:15.
Oh, excuse me.
Bryce?
This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we're out of executive session, no decisions made. At this point, let's move into our building discussion. As everyone well aware, we came into a little bit of sticker shock at 1240 commercial on trying to do the public health. So we put together some scenarios for the commission to look at and get input from different departments of perhaps another use for that space. Scenario 1 would be moving road and bridge administration, planning and zoning, emergency management, and EMS, that'd be the ambulance staff, to 1240 commercial. The advantage of that, the county attorney could move into the annex and frees up space in the courthouse. Scenario 2 would be to move road and bridge administration, planning and zoning, and possibly emergency management out to 1240 commercial. That would allow space for a larger meeting, conference room for training, which all three of those departments definitely need.
And potentially other departments
Yes.
might be able to use it too for
Right.
meetings, because we, right now, have to rent space a lot of times, or
I can tell you that there is fiber optic behind the building.
Mhm.
It's already in place, so.
So it would be,
Is that Tri-County?
so just one thing that maybe add to that,
Yes.
that other departments can
Yes.
use it as well.
yep,
For
for the
small.
entire county. And then scenario 3 would be to move the appraiser's office and staff and planning and zoning. The thought being there, both are very intense in mapping, but the mapping services would be compatible at the one location. Then move the county attorney into the appraiser space, which would still be in the courthouse. Move to the annex, road and bridge administration, emergency management, EMS would stay.
I'm more in favor of 1 and 2. 1 poorly, but 2.
Okay. We've looked, Tina's explored the IT issues for any of the departments. Obviously, the appraiser's office is very intense with the mapping system and planning and zoning also, but it's certainly doable for IT support at that location. Scenario 2, the conference room, all three departments and the other departments of the county certainly have expressed interest and need in a meeting room space, conference room space, training space. Yes?
Is this with available building as is, or are we gonna have to modify it and see what the cost is?
That is as is.
As
I mean,
is.
other than modifying the walls inside, which the entire thing is truss clear across the top, so you
Right.
basically have free space to move whatever you want.
No structural walls.
No, the only issues that I can think of is once we decide which departments are going and what the layout will be, we'll have to modify electrical, possibly mechanical, at least the vents, let's put it that way.
Mhm.
Plus,
There
it should
are
be
probably
flex.
there's probably 3 times the amount of electrical outlets that we would need in there, because it was designed for convenience store and hair salons and everything else, but that's all, that's
It's good
all-
to have extra. I know.
Yes, yes.
And then
So,
you could just have stud walls, sheetrock, electrical,
Some
minor
plumbing.
plumbing.
Yeah.
Some-
HVAC.
A little bit of HVAC, moving, flex
And-
duct.
and the only thing that I
But
was.
then insulation only where needed.
Insulation's already there, other
Right.
than what you
Well,
change.
sometimes you want for sound barrier.
Well,
between.
yeah, you can do that. The 2 things that I was thinking about, water wouldn't be a problem, electrical would be a problem, but we probably, I guess I would request to have the HVAC units looked at. I don't know, talking with previous occupants, they said it was never a problem, but again, we're gonna have to develop. So it was just been my thought to have it looked at. Second of all, electricity's with Flint Hills, so we need to turn around and set up an account with them. I don't know if you wanna go through whose department or how we're gonna do that, because if we're gonna do any modifications, we'll have to have electricity in there, so.
We're working on getting the utilities switched over to the county. I
Okay.
mean, that's
Not a
already in
problem.
progress,
Yeah, okay.
so.
I will say, the other day when we went out there, the electricity was out, not electricity, the cooling was out in the courthouse, and we went out there, and there was no cooling. It was significantly cooler out there. That building must be well
It's well
insulated.
insulated. They said the
Yeah.
utility bills were $2,300 a month.
Right. But what I like about the scenarios is they are all with what I would call reasonable remodel. Reasonable
Yeah.
amount needed to be done to make the building very functional
Yeah.
for these departments, with depending on which scenario.
The scenario 3 probably has the most obstacles, just because the appraiser's office does work really pretty closely with several other departments within the courthouse. However, it has been done in other counties, and there are other ways to accomplish some of the things that we've been doing with some changes, so.
You see, not any of them has 10 people. And somebody just mentioned about changing bathrooms. 10 people with bathrooms, I mean.
You're gonna want a little more bathroom space, I think, than what you're
I was
talking
gonna say,
there.
I'm thinking about
keep
that.
up with them.
because-
Well, one of the reasons why I called the city building inspector, I was talking to him about what we would need to do for permits and stuff like that, so I've got that in mind. But again, we can modify these, you know, the way we want to, but whatever we do, it's gonna have to be handicap accessible.
One thing
Let's
with,
keep it builder special too, so you always,
Yeah.
they're only in one area.
Yeah.
Plumbing's
Yeah,
only in one.
well, and the plumbing and water, they're all in roughly that back third of the building.
and that was the problem with public health, because it was gonna take a lot of work to put wash stations in each of the exam rooms. So in this case, the plumbing stays pretty much where it's at.
And there's also the little kitchenette thing in the back, so.
Which could be made smaller, you know. Kitchenette, could be galley.
It's pretty small now, it's only about 7 foot wide, and, yeah, it's
9 by 15.
it's got a counter running down one side, but there's, the outside wall over there, there's not much room for anything else, but anyway.
One thing about these scenarios, it's gonna tackle a long-term problem in the courthouse
Yeah.
of storage. In each of these scenarios, the county attorney gets a reasonable space where it's completely unacceptable where they're at there. It frees up storage space in the basement, whether it be for election storage, file storage, server.
Frees up storage in other departments too.
Right. And now the man with the answers is here.
You're stretching the truth, sir.
Stretching the truth. I'm gonna use that the next time you get pulled over. I think you're, yeah.
Sounds like a campaign
You got
slogan.
You got a foot stretcher out of your place, so I can just write "stretching the truth" on it.
I need to bring one of them and put it right up here.
Wow.
Wire stretcher.
Big wire stretcher.
I would be in favor of maybe Bryce or a collection of Bryce sharing, finding out some cost estimates on scenarios 1 and 2.
Okay.
I mean, do we have to get an engineer, or can we just have somebody, one of the local contractors?
Well, yeah, as far as moving that stuff inside, I don't see that being a problem. There really is no permit required to do that.
Right. It's
Other
not
than,
structural.
yes, other than electrical and mechanical and plumbing. You'll have to have permits for them, but there, again, we really can't decide on what that is until we decide who wants to go there and what we're gonna do for a plan.
And that's the decision the commission needs to give to get.
And honestly, I mean, between all 3/4 of us, if that's what you wanna do with 1 or 2, we can all sit down and go over some of that.
Then
You know.
scenario 2 with an alternate, that way you ain't gotta change a whole lot, you can just have the alternate pricing be on scenario one.
Okay, and again, like I said, it's a matter, demolition is the fun part, because you can take care of that ahead of time.
It is
but-
not fun.
Sure it is.
It marks the set point for a long road ahead.
Well, but you know, you've seen it on TV, where
There's
they
no
just love
lowering
going.
walls in this one.
Yeah, but-
Sledgehammer.
And then you
Yeah.
see 38, 48, 60 days later before they ever get done.
Ah.
So am I getting a consensus from the commission, scenario 2 is first priority with scenario 1 as the alternate?
You got a quarter. Just whip it up there and see what it's.
I mean, they're very similar, the two
Yeah.
scenarios.
Well, and again,
One is-
we can, again, meet together, we can
I'm
come
just-
back.
I'm just kidding.
But just
I'm
to gather.
I
more-
can't afford, I got a couple, 3 pennies in that
That's
account.
fine.
Okay.
It's
I
one
honestly
half dozen
think
the other.
scenario 2 will be slightly cheaper,
Yes.
just based on
Yes.
what it is. And scenario 1 will add a little cost to that,
Yeah.
the way I can see
And,
it.
and we can, obviously, you're talking about the bathrooms, that's one of the things we can really address too.
Probably the first thing we need to do is get the process started on the conditional use permit.
Yeah.
So do we throw that on the county clerk, or do we throw that on our counselor?
I think that county staff can
Okay.
take care of that, just work together.
See what the camera wasn't on.
I'll get started on that, and I'll
Because
gather
we-
whatever resources I
I'm-
need
I'm-
from county.
I guess,
I don't think you need the attorney for that.
no, okay, thank you. I
Yeah.
guess the decision I'm asking for today is moving forward with county office space
We're gonna
out
use
there,
it for
or turn
county
around and
government.
sell the space. If we're gonna turn around and sell the space, there's no use getting a conditional use permit. I'm not seeing that.
I'm wanting to know what that'll cost. I want to,
Yeah.
and if anything you can do to shave that cost is great, because we can't use another sticker shock.
Right, yep.
Sheriff, did you have any input on this topic, or just?
I'm here for something else.
Okay, very good.
I have very little input.
We appreciate your input on
I
a lot of
mean,
issues.
she's measured
Thank you.
how many 2 before walls.
I don't even know what you're talking about. I think you're talking about the new building.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about was, one of the options is to move in emergency management out there, so that would free up the space with you.
What would be great,
Yes.
a great help to us, because I've got a sex crimes detective that's got a lot of stuff that needs to go behind lock and
Oh,
door.
boy.
Both of our scenarios involve moving out of your space.
Hey,
Both scenarios,
there are
1
2
and 2.
offices out there. You, over there? They just have one.
Okay, so-
She's got one at the health department.
Right.
So now what are you doing?
Well, you're gonna pursue the conditional use permit.
Based on potentially scenario 2, is that what you're?
Well,
That's the government office, so you
Government
have to
office
say-
space, so they need to know
You can let
specifics.
say-
They'll, at some point, they will need specifics, and it
Right.
probably won't be too far down the road, so.
But once, for construction purposes, we'll only need a TCO, and we won't need a CO until final.
Right.
So,
And I don't know if that, after you file the permit, has to go to the planning department. I don't know how often, but they meet once a month down
Once a month.
there? So-
Jackie's on the commission.
Oh, okay. So we'll have to wait.
Dave's already in on that.
There you
Okay.
go.
He's already got it approved, is that what you just said?
We got one vote.
Yeah.
you gotta pay,
She's
you gotta
not-
pay a
not
fee.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
There's a cost.
There's a
Yeah.
cost.
But,
At least get going.
so we're gonna initiate the steps for the conditional use permit. At the same time, you're gonna be gathering information on those scenarios.
Scenario 2 with an alternate
Of one.
of what extra cost for scenario 1.
Right.
Okay.
But obviously, I think we see the need for the training space, conference room space. So that kind of limits number 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, you get an estimate on this drawing. what it might be.
That is just what Sharon put
I
in
know.
again, once
It's,
we.
it's a concept.
Yeah.
Yes.
But because you can't get a hard bid.
No, no,
we
it's
need to
not
get an
gonna-
estimate.
Well, typically you should be able to do that because most of it's going to, you're just gonna move boxes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's still gonna require the same amount of outlets, the same amount of studs, the same amount
But
of.
what do you want, I guess? You want a hard bid, or you want an estimate?
No, well, yeah, you won't get a hard bid until everything is satisfied and.
Yeah,
you send it
that's what I mean,
to-
that's,
At
Yeah,
this
right.
point, we're just asking for an estimate, then once we have a general estimate, then we can make a hard decision on what we want, then we get to hard bid and
Yeah.
move forward. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
for the legwork of getting that together.
It's, something needs to be done.
Yes, and definite advantages to multiple departments
Yep.
in the courthouse. Very good. Thank you, Bryce.
Anything else?
There's no interest in scenario 3, right?
I think it's off the
I
table.
don't want that to come up with that.
Yeah, scenario 3 is off the table,
Okay.
what I see.
At the bottom, you have current planning and zoning office across from courthouse with a question mark. Is that what you're gonna talk about next?
No.
Oh, okay.
I want to resolve these 3. I shouldn't have even put that one on there, because that's just another one.
That's
Okay.
an option
Let's
down the road.
take one win at a time. Let's take a win and then let's tackle the next one. Hopefully one win. We just get one.
There was
Yeah.
some ideas for that,
Mhm.
and with this,
Mhm.
could change all that idea.
Mhm.
So we're gonna knock out one at a time.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, thanks, Bryce.
Okay, thanks. May the force be with you.
Wow.
Or, no, wait, maybe.
That's a couple
Yeah,
Star
it would.
Wars nerds together or something?
As in police force, may the force be with you.
Oh.
Yes, yes.
Okay, Sheriff, did you have?
I just come over to give Marcy some accolades. So I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but over the weekend, Saturday morning when the parade started,
Thank you for the update. I forgot about, we need to have a commission updated.
that's why I came over.
Thank you.
When the parade started, we got notified that the radios were down for the whole entire county. Nobody could get out, nobody could talk to us, we couldn't talk to nobody else. We had phone, so after the parade was over with, Marcy came in, myself, the undersheriff, and one of our deputies come in. She basically plotted out on our big map in our EOC, and we contacted every fire department, we contacted every chief and every city office. Find out and test their radios, we tested them. TBS was telling us it wasn't on their side, of course the state was saying it wasn't on their side either.
Yeah, it never is.
So, you guys noticed the truck and the trailer were sitting over there. So, basically the state said, well, we'll go check the state tower. I said, okay, well, let's do that. Meanwhile, we kept operating. We had to have that many people in there because if we would have had to page a fire department out, we'd have been running on anywhere from personal cell phones to just phones. So anyway, they said, well, we'll send it. The state finally agreed that maybe they needed to go look at something. So they told us at 1:30, 2 o'clock, I think it was somewhere in there, that they were going to send somebody out. They'd be out there by 4. Hopefully it'd be an easy fix and they'd be up and running by 5. So with that being said, we started making some decisions. And I thought it best maybe we go ahead and grab the dually and the trailer, get it over here, get it all hooked up so it was staged. Our plan was to put it up. If we had to go up, we kind of found a center point location. We figured maybe the outlook at the reservoir, get us to the highest point quickest, safest on concrete, something we could secure, very simple, by basically having a link to our backside and everything else. We could guard in front if we had to watch it or something. Because, you know, it's not a manned trailer, so we wouldn't have to leave somebody out there with it. A little side note, so you guys know what happened. We went over and got the dually, and we came back. On the way back, there was 4 vehicles in line. I was driving the emergency management Dodge truck, and a car went to pass. We were going up towards the bridge by the state building on Highway 56. Car goes out to pull in front of me or past me, well, there's 4 other vehicles in line. Another car behind him pulls out behind him, and they start racing up the side. We get on the brakes at that same time, another vehicle comes over the bridge right at them. So all 5 vehicles plus the oncoming vehicle, we all hit the shoulders, got out of the way, got them through. Of course, the cop instinct in the emergency management vehicle, I flipped on the lights and we went and had a visit. We were very nice about it. We didn't issue any citations. We did seize a little bit of extracurricular activity stuff that was in the vehicle away from them. But that was me in the emergency management vehicle. If anybody comes to you and says anything,
Okay.
I did it myself. I take full responsibility. If I had to do it all over again, I'd do the same thing because it was all done professionally.
You know what? That's good. That's going to
There's a good reason to have them lights in that truck.
You see something? Don't make no difference.
You got the cherries and berries in that truck for a reason.
So, on Sunday, my phone was lit up about the emergency management truck making a car stop. They were calling me, I'm like, well, no crap, I did it. I'm the one who did it. So I figured if I'm hearing about it at home, you guys might be hearing about it. So that was one of the things I wanted to tell you. So anyway, we staged over here, and believe it or not, at 4:50, they called us and said it was a microwave switch. It was in the tower. It went bad. They replaced it, and we were back up and running. We started testing radios. We tested every fire department and all of our law enforcement agencies. And something for you guys to know too is when that microwave switch goes out on our tower, it also drops Chase County. I didn't know that. So they were without radios, and they had no idea what was going on.
Marcy called me Saturday afternoon, was giving me an update, and I mean, she went through she called surrounding counties, you know, eliminated the ones that were not, but Chase was affected. So then in her calling all of who was out, narrowed it down, it had to be the state's tower. So that really helped reinforce the state needed to get their guys out there and get that fixed.
Yeah. So.
You didn't get the tower up then?
No, we did not put it up. I just didn't want to be trying to go in and getting it at dark and trying to set it up
Correct.
at dark.
I agree.
Yeah, when they called back and said they couldn't get it fixed.
My question to you though, Jeff, since you just had this problem, is when was the last time it was done and checked?
Well, that was the other thing. So I have an ERLB meeting tomorrow evening. While we're there, that's why we did not put it back yet. We're gonna see if we can find a date that we can get some of the fire chiefs out there with us. And some of the chiefs of police, and see if we'll go out and run out and set it up real quick somewhere, so we get a little run time on it.
Because I don't remember the last time I've heard it run.
It's been a long time. It's only been put up once, so. And we need to run the generators now. Those get self-checked by Marcy, but it doesn't hurt we've got 2 people in my department that know how to set it up, and that's Travis Wilson and Jimmy Philpott.
That's good.
So we're gonna cross-train some other people to get them on board too.
Okay.
So, that's why if they ask, that's why it's still out and about, so. But I just wanted to give everybody the update, so.
It should be nice to have a big steel building over there to set it in.
Well, now at the same time, we don't want all our eggs in one basket. Do you put that tower right next to the sheriff's office, or do you put it somewhere else?
Well. Right now, we're storing it up here in Marion.
Right.
So, I mean, whatever hits that is probably going to the road bridge building.
It used to be stored in Hillsborough.
Yeah.
That kept separation, so that something come through, you'd have one or the other.
But it seems to be that, you know, I think we have a pretty good working relationship with the Fair Board and Hillsborough over there. Seems like we were moving some vehicles around quite a bit, which it don't bother me. If that's what we gotta do, we gotta do. But me personally, I'm at the point where as long as we get along, I don't care where it's at. So, I don't wanna make any waves, don't need to make the waves. I mean, if I had my choice, it would be on the other end of the county from this office, but, you know, like I said, we got that caviar taste with McDonald budget in Marion County, so we might our B's and Q's.
Well, I really appreciate the work you and Marcy and Larry did to ensure communications, because when Marcy called me, I go, crap, really, you know, if you lose which we just had the tour, you lose dispatch,
You lose the
what do
heartbeat.
you do?
Yeah, and the liabilities that come out of that.
Yep.
911 or something else rings, and
Yeah.
we can't page the right people and get the right people to help, we're in trouble.
I was impressed with the response and the thoroughness, and I mean,
Yeah,
everybody's
Marcy,
involved.
that's what I mainly came over. Marcy did an absolutely wonderful job.
Yep.
She did absolutely wonderful.
Did you go to cell phone use then?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It's tough when it bows down. I mean, it's a pain.
Yeah.
Start planning cell phone radios.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you brought up.
I'm telling you, the cat's meow.
I mean, we gotta start thinking about that, for real, because this, you know, what's the next upgrade after the 800, right? And it's gonna be something, and it's gonna be however many millions of dollars.
And that'll work inside buildings.
Yeah. And that's the one thing, you know, even right now, if every fire department and every law enforcement agency and the sheriff's office, if there was just one cell phone attached to that plan per department, not everybody in that department having that cell phone, but one to each department, so that way if we did go down, we would still have that capability to tone out or do whatever we need to do on the cell phone radios. Something to think about down the road.
I think it's a good idea. The technology's here, we need to start utilizing it.
Yeah. So,
Very good.
you guys have anything for me?
Wow, silence.
I know it's done something, right? You got anything for me, team?
Just commands the room.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Take care.
Thanks.
All right, I believe the last item we have is the executive session on security.
Can we?
Did you have something? No, go ahead.
Well, could we also add a short, like really I only need 5 minutes on
Sure.
security. Can we also add 5 minutes for non-elected personnel performance?
Yes, yes. Okay, so we'll have two. Which one do you want to do first?
It doesn't matter at
Let's
all.
do security since it was.
Okay.
Which is
Sorry,
that?
that's,
13, got it.
yeah, I was gonna say.
I move that we recess into executive session in order to discuss security pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 13, matters related to security measures with the commission and Tina for 5 minutes.
Second.
Going from 2:43 to 2:48. And we have a second by Commissioner Dahlke. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Aye.
Motion carried. 4-0. We will be back at 2. Seems like there, oh yeah, there is one. We'll talk about the interview schedule at the end.
Oh, yeah.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. We're out of executive session. No decisions made. We'll go back in for 5 minutes for personnel. I move that we recess an executive session in order to discuss personnel performance pursuant to KSA 75-4319B, item 1, personnel matters, non-elected personnel performance with Commissioner and Tina for 5 minutes. Oh, let's make that from 2:50 to 2:55.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Gehring. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried. We will be back at 2:55.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, we are out of executive session, no decisions made. Tina, you wanted to talk about the interview schedule on October 3rd?
Well, just the meeting schedule overall,
Okay.
because you'll be meeting twice this week.
Yes.
You have a land bank meeting scheduled for the 3rd, and then that was really one of the only things you were wanting to come in for.
Then we got interviews.
And then you have interviews in the evening. So I was just wondering if you wanted maybe reschedule the land bank meeting to the evening before the interviews and then not meet in the daytime.
That sounds amazing.
Anyway,
I like that
just
much better.
wondering what your thoughts are.
I don't like having to drive full
No.
and then go back and try to figure out my day and then come back.
Yes.
So I'm just kind of curious how that fits with you all, if you want to try to do that.
Yes.
Much rather.
I would much rather also. Is that,
Sure, 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or something?
Well,
Uh,
the first
yeah,
one's
so-
at 5, so.
What time's the first interview?
5 o'clock, I believe. So you could do your land bank at 4,
okay.
if that works.
Does that leave us enough time,
Is that
Randy?
enough time, or would you rather?
That's fine, yeah.
For 1 hour for land
It'll
bank?
make me no difference from what.
Oh,
Okay, just.
Or we
just
could
wrap
go
it.
early, like
Bars.
3:30, and then you could have a little break before you start.
I was just thinking you had some items to discuss. I was just making sure an hour was enough. Okay.
So October 3rd, 4 o'clock?
Unless you wanna have time to
3:30?
have
Yeah.
some, either a break in
Prep-
or some
prep
prep
time
time.
before you interview. That's a good
Yeah.
idea. Maybe let's make it 3:30.
Okay.
So
And
it'll
that
actually
would need
be-
to be by motion, I
Okay.
believe.
You're the vice chair on the land bank?
That's right, because Kent's the chairman.
You,
of the
you
land
should,
bank.
you should, aren't you? You should make the motion then.
Okay. I make the motion that we have our land bank meeting on October 3rd at 3:30.
3:30.
3:30.
Yeah, we went through. Kinda, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Land bank meeting will be October 3rd at 3:30.
Even though it's supposed to be a separate entity, so.
All I need is a letter to get those people to sign, is what I need. That's the big thing.
just keep working with Brad and get that.
Sick.
I mean,
He's doing tests today.
it wouldn't be too difficult for, if we could, I think we could probably have it done in 15 minutes if you have some time.
Okay, all right, I'll do it.
Okay.
I got time.
So, back to schedule. Today was the regular Monday meeting. Friday is payday meeting, 9 o'clock.
Yes.
9 o'clock?
9 o'clock Friday, payday meeting. And then October 3rd, we'll be meeting at 3:30 as land bank. Interviews at 5.
Yeah, starting at 5.
Oh, we-
Starting at 5, yeah.
You won't need an hour. You won't need but a half hour at the most for a plan thing, so you wanna make them 4 o'clock.
Well, then you might, I didn't know if you wanted a break and then have some prep time for.
We need
All it is, well, just discuss the two whether, and all I wanna do is present them to you. Now, are we gonna have to take the vote the same day, whether we accept them or not?
Let's go ahead and allow an hour for the
Okay.
meeting.
Okay.
Just since we haven't had one and
Okay.
it won't hurt anything.
Okay, well, the process is what we're gonna see, and, I'd like to, at least, I'd like to get some pictures of them.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and leave it at 3:30.
Okay.
That'll give us a little more time after the meeting. Okay. I'm not gonna get into the following weeks.
Okay. Yeah, the following week you'll, it'd just be on the 11th.
Right.
The
and then
Tuesday.
The 24th, we'll have the road meeting at 10. And then regular 12:30. Okay, anything else for today? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'd make that motion to adjourn.
Commissioner Dahlke, Commissioner Gearing, second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. Motion carried 4-0. We are adjourned. Thank you. Oh, I just. Wait.
Oh, I got, Krista invited the county commissioners to come help greet people.
Okay.
It's from 9 to 1. It's to be thinking about.
Is it, last year was it Marion, next year?
No, it's here in Marion.
It is.
Up at the building, the
Yeah.
Marion Auditorium, or not?
Okay.
It's from
Gym,
8 to 11.
8 to 11.
Yep, we are adjourned.
It's SAC.
Is she gonna line us out, Dave, to where